Okay, so we're going to create that armature for our figures, and we need to have the underneath part of this ultramache. So this is with it already applied on top, but we need to create something that we can pose and cover. And it's also rigid enough that it will stay straight like this, and it's also flexible enough that I can shape it how I need to. Okay, so we're going to need 3 of these. So this is about how much you're going to take. And I'll mark it off on the table. You need a piece about that long, okay? And I usually just kind of give it a little chop along the edge. Be careful, it's sharp. And then you're going to make 3 rolls like this. So that's 3. And you just loosely roll it up the width. Okay, so you can see that these are the width of the box. Okay, so one piece is going to be the body and the head. So another piece is going to be the 2 legs, and another piece is going to be the 2 arms. Okay, so for the body and the head, we roll it up loosely. And we're going to use our 8 heads high drawing to measure things. Okay, so for the body and head, I'm going to roll it up loosely, and then I'm going to just roll it and roll it and roll it around and kind of try to make it an even. Actually, you know what? We use this for the arms because that's not what I want to do. That can be the arms. Actually, we're going to fold it in half for the body first. Okay, so for the body, it's going to be folded in half, and then you're going to loosely push it together. So you start out going loosely, and then you push it tighter and tighter and tighter. Now, an important thing to remember is that you don't want to make it as thick as this drawing because it's a skeleton, so it's underneath, and you still have to have some space to cover it, right? So you are going to use it, though, to measure where the neck and where the arms and the length of the body and the length of the arms and all of those things. So one good tool to use is the scissors. You can kind of smash it tighter with the scissors. So you can go around and around and around and give yourself a neck. This is a self-portrait, right? So you're creating you. You want to get a neck there. And so it should be smaller than what you have in your drawing. Okay, so I'm creating a neck, and it's going to look a little bit long, but by the time you put the ultramache on it, it's going to look right. Okay, so you want to kind of get it tight around the neck area, and then be careful with this because sometimes it forms little points and little sharp edges when you're smashing it down tight. So be careful not to cut yourself. Right. I use the scissors to squash down the head, which is smaller than the head on the drawing. Okay. And then I'm going to use, and you can just get it right. And then you're going to kind of smash this a little bit flat, but not too flat, because we're not making flat Stanley. Okay. Some people tend to make this very flat. And I'm always telling you, you need to add ultramache to the back, to the front, to the sides, make it look like a person, right? But it's going to look a little flat at the beginning. All right. Now, one important thing to note is that you need to make it stop up here, not all the way down here. Okay. Because if you stop it down here and then you add the legs and you add the ultramache, then you're going to end up with the crotch being way down here, and it's going to look like diapers. Okay. So we don't want that to look like that unless that's the effect you're trying to go for, but we're really trying to create human bodies, and we want to make sure that you give it the space to add the ultramache. So you want to stop it right about here. So I'm going to make a little mark with my scissors right there, and then I'm going to cut this off. So now I have my body. And then you can take and smush those points from where I just cut it so you don't cut yourself. If you smash them down against the table, then you won't slice your finger open. You might be running out of Band-Aids, so we don't want anybody needing a Band-Aid. All right, so I cut that a little short, but it'll be all right. Okay, then we're gonna add legs. So we have the next piece, and I'm gonna squish that down to a roll in one long piece. And you can squish it even more later, but you don't want to squeeze it super, super tight because then it's a little harder to bend. If you keep it somewhat loose, then it's going to be easier to pose. But if you put it really, really tight, the head's fine, the neck's fine, but the legs, you're going to want to bend them around a bit. And so if you keep it a little bit loose, also, it will help hold the ultra mache onto your piece.
Can I see Abaddon for a second?
So you're going to take this now, this is the leg, so you're going to fold it in half. Okay. So you have, that's way longer than you need, but you also need feet, so don't cut it yet. Don't cut the arms or the legs until you have them measured against your drawing. Okay, so I'm going to cut that in half. And then I'm just going to smash down those edges a bit where I cut it. And I am going to be taping it on the sides to create the hips. I'm going to get a piece of tape. I'm going to put this against here, and I want to make sure I have enough. There's enough for the foot. I'm going to pinch down at the heel, and I'm going to bend that out. Okay, so I got a foot. I have a place to tape this. And it can also kind of bend out a little, right? I'm kind of bending it out. And I'm going to tape that leg to the body. And you should probably use a couple pieces of tape because if I just tape it like this, it's all loose and it's going to fall off. Okay, so I'm going to use a couple pieces of tape. And make sure when you do that, that you kind of stretch the tape and pull it down tight and then smash it down really good against the foil. This is better tape than I used to have. I used to have this terrible tape and it didn't even stick. This is 3M tape, so it's pretty good. I got you better tape this year. All right, so we're gonna measure it again. You can pull the, look at what I'm doing right here. I'm kind of bending it out and I'm putting it in the places where the hips and the knees, and I might just bend it a little at the knee so that when I go to pose it, I know where that spot is going to be. You might even kind of tighten it up a little, tighten it down so that it's like a skeleton, right? And then I have a foot and I can smash that down and I can shape, I'm going to shape my foot. So it can be a skinny little foot, right? So there I have my piece, okay? There I have a leg and a foot. Then I do the same thing for the other side. I want to make sure that I have enough room for a foot, so I don't want to put it too high up because then I won't have a foot. If you do, it can be fixed. Everything can always be fixed. But I'm going to tape that on to the other side. Make sure you tape it on really well. A couple pieces. And make sure that you smush the tape down against the body so that it's not kind of sticking out all over. You just let it stick down really good. All right. So now I have the other leg. And the knee is right there. I'm going to kind of smush that in. And my foot is right there. So this piece was a little bit longer, so I can cut off a little bit of the foot. Oh, no, it needs to be better down here. You want to kind of tighten up those places. It's okay if the foot is short because you will add ultra mache there, as long as you have a little something to stick it on. Okay. So there I have this. You notice that the hips are kind of coming out. There's room in between the legs to put the ultra mache, because you're going to be adding ultra mache around this. Right now we need arms. All right, so I'm going to have some arms, and I'm going to squish this down into a sort of tight log. You can squish it down even more after you have it applied to the body. You're going to bend that in half, so make it even. You're not going to cut this. You will not cut the piece for the arms. You're going to flatten it in the center. You can take your scissors and you're going to just flatten that. And that's going to go across the back. Okay. So just make sure that you have enough. I have plenty of extra I can cut off. And I am going to put this across the back of my piece. So I'm going to measure it against the head. It's not going to go all the way up near the top, because then it's going to look really weird and you're not going to look like you have any kind of a neck. You're going to come down into the chest area and you're going to center it at the shoulders. Okay, so make sure that there's a little bit of the shoulders above. And then you'll just take it and you'll wrap it around the body and then bend it out in the center. Okay, so that kind of gives it a little something to hold on to and a little something to tape it. You're going to have it like that. Okay, then you're going to crisscross your tape. Okay, so you can just give it a little crisscross. Make sure that you have it in the right spot. Now, it might look a little funny with the neck being so long, but once you put a head on there and you put some shoulders on there, you're not going to have a lot of space, right? So look, see, I got the head there. I got some shoulder. I got space to add the ultra mache, right? So do some crisscross tape. Make sure you pull pieces long enough to go all the way around and really hold that down. And then don't just leave it kind of hanging out. You want to push that tape into the foil so that it's not, loose and hanging off, right? And then if you need to, you can make some adjustments to the arms. You can squeeze them down a little more because some of these are a little bit wide. And then you can take it and measure your arm. So I'm putting my finger under the arm and I'm bending the arm around it because you're gonna put some ultra mache in there, and you need to give yourself a shoulder. So basically you're creating the shoulder and then you're going along the arm. You're going to go down to just above the fingers and make a little mark there. I'm bending it. I'm going to cut that off. Make sure that you don't cut it off until you have it measured against the arm. And then you take that and smash it against the table so that those little sharp parts don't cut you. Okay, so I got an elbow. I know where the elbow is going to be. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm putting my finger under the arm, making sure that I'm keeping the head in the right place. There's the elbow. There's the fingers, and I'm just cutting it just a little bit above the fingers because I'm going to have some space for ultra mache. Okay, so right there. If you cut it a little too short, you can always add ultra mache on the end, or you can take some tape and kind of wrap it around it a little bit to give something to hold on to. And I'm going to take this and bend it at the elbow. So I have something that's bent at the elbow, and I'm bending them at the knees just so I know where they are. I've got them bent at the heels, down below for the feet, for the ankles. So this looks a little goofy. We know that the knees aren't going to bend backwards like that, but it's just really for me to see where it goes. And now I can take it and I can pose it out how I need it to be. But you don't really need to pose it yet. So you're going to just kind of pull it out like that and pull it out. Whoops, that's backwards. Pull it out. you can kind of bend the knees and pull them out because you're going to cover the body before you do anything else. Okay. So you can twist these legs around and shape them how you need them later. You will not put ultra mache on your armature and leave it like this. Because once it dries, it's very hard and you can't reshape it. So then you'd have to like break off the arm and re-stick something on, and we'd have to really figure something out. The first part you're going to do is you're going to cover the body and the head with ultra mache. Okay. But we won't be doing that until next week. You're going to create these armatures. I think you can get them done tomorrow and Monday. So I think I'm going to make them be due Monday. We'll see how it goes. And that's how you do it. So you can play around with it, pose it how you want, right? Just always kind of be checking it against the body that you have, that you created on your drawing. Make sure that the knees are not bent in like some weird spot that's not where the knee goes, right? And make sure that you get it smushed down kind of tight so that it's not too thick, that when you put the ultra mache on top, then it gets extra thick. And then it looks kind of weird. But that's what the armature looks like. You get to pose it however you want. You can be running, you can play guitar, you can dance, you can cook, you can play tennis, you can, all of the things that you're going to think of that you're going to do, which we will make sketches after you have this. Okay, you're going to do the armature and then we'll do sketches of your idea. And you can actually even use this to kind of pose and create the sketch because it's posable. Okay, so that's how you do it.